Hey guys, and welcome to Pega's Videos. This video we'll be talking about Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 11. It's called Claimed. And I know it's been almost a week now since it came out, and the next one's coming out soon. And I'll be doing a prediction video immediately after this one. Because I've been too busy to be able to get them done. But all that will change next week because I'll have a lot less work to do that I have done this week because it will be changed. So anyway, back to the episode. It was the episode. So the episode focused on Rick, Michonne, and Carl's group, and Glenn, Tara, and Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita. And we see these two groups throughout the episode. So we start with Glenn's group. Basically, we introduced to their group the new characters, mostly just introduced to Abraham to start with, and he seems like a good guy. He seems he's a sergeant, and he realizes that the world is more important than one man or one person. As again, it would be Maggie, and he's just trying to save the world, I guess, and trying to bear the burden of being a hero. But so we see Glenn wake up and have some to talk about stuff and have a fight, and we see one of Abraham's guys called Eugene, who basically shoots the gas tank of their military truck, and they have to walk. There's something a bit odd about him. He's quite smart, and he seems to be able to control Abraham to some extent by using his intelligence. The other character we meet, Rosita, is not important yet, I guess. Well, actually, in the comics, she's not important either. These characters all do appear in the comics, and most of you probably know that. And we see Glenn wake up from this coma type thing. He was in for 3 hours, and basically wants them to turn around and go back and get Maggie, but they say no. So he walks off himself, and then he starts fighting Abraham. It's quite interesting that there was the fight between Abraham and Glenn was actually quite similar to the fight with Merle and T-Dog in season 1, episode 2. Whereas Merle punched T-Dog and then jumped on him and then started beating him up, and Morales and Glenn tried to get him off. This time Glenn punches Abraham and starts to walk away. Abraham tackles Glenn, starts fighting him, and then Tara and Rosita step in to try and stop them. They only stop the sound of gunfire because Eugene sees walkers. He's not very good with a gun, not for somebody who's lasted this long. So it seems that he's managing to use Abraham to defend him. He managed to kill a few zombies, but doesn't actually help much because they destroy the truck. But they stop fighting Glenn and Abraham, and they go back and kill the zombies, and then they decide to walk back, and Tara's talking about being a bad person, how she was fought with the governor, and when Abraham keeps trying to tell her she's a good person, and she thinks he's bad. She thinks there's something about him. He's not completely. He's not a saint, basically. And yeah, that group. The other group is Carl and Michonne leave Rick in the house, go off to get some supplies, and they have a moment. They have like bonding moments where they clearing through a house, getting stuff. We learn a bit about Michonne's backstory, being having a child that died soon into the apocalypse called Andre Anthony. And it's a funny moment that everyone's talking about with the crazy cheese. And the best part of the episode, and then where the name's from, is stuff that happens with Rick. So after they go, Rick. No, this is important because Rick pushes the couch against the wall, against the door. Then goes upstairs, starts reading a book, falls asleep. He wakes up when these guys have come into the house somehow, going past this couch that's been pushed to the door, so they know that someone barricaded it at least one point. We hear there's some kind of fight, and then a guy begging them something, and then screaming, and that wakes Rick up, and he jumps up to try to he checks his gun, but because he gave the gun to Carl, so he then jumps into the bed and hides. And this is so a lot of people say that Walking Dead is it's not really a horror TV show. It's just a drama with some zombies. But this sort of really helped. But it was quite cliched in some aspects, in terms of the guy walks up to the bed and stands there for a few minutes, and we see just his feet, and then he walks around, walks away, comes back again, that kind of thing. But I thought it was quite well done, and it was a really good addition to the episode. And so the guy gets on the bed and doesn't see Rick. Rick's about to leave again, and someone else comes along and wants the bed, because it's the only adult bed. So the guy that's sleeping in it, called I forget what his name is. Another guy that comes in is called Len. I'm not sure who this guy is. We don't really know their names that much. I had to look up on the wiki to see if there was any information about them, and there isn't at all, really, apart from some names that we hear them shout. So he says the bed's claimed, and Len says, no one heard it being claimed. And they get in a fight, and Len puts a guy into a chokehold, knock him unconscious. When he sees Rick, and he keeps trying to tell the other guy choking him that there's a guy under the bed, but he doesn't hit him, and then he jumps in the bed himself. And we hear at one point them talking about they want to rape a woman. And they've seen something that belongs to Michonne there, like a shirt or something. Well, she changes into the white shirt at the beginning of the episode, which also they mentioned Judah. And Carl is upset and walks away. But that's quite a good moment at the beginning where they're talking about milk and cereal, and it's like small piece of the normal world that's slowly creeping back in again. And so Rick, they're talking about Michonne, and I think they're talking about Michonne, and they know someone's there, so that's what they were checking. They were checking the rooms earlier. It's quite interesting because when the first guy walks into the bedroom Rick's in, Rick's put put his brown shirt that he always wears, that's all ripped and everything, he put it on the floor, I think, or he put something on the floor in front of a cupboard, propped up against the wall of it. So the guy opens it and it pulls out, and it sort of moves across the floor. But I thought if he was checking inside there, surely that wouldn't be there, because someone would have had it open before that hand. So that's just a small error that I think that was, but maybe he should have noticed something. I don't know. And then Rick manages to get out, because Rick now was on borrowed time, because as soon as this guy wakes up, he's going to tell them. And so Rick tries to leave, and he tries to walk out, and people go upstairs. He hides in a different room. And the guy someone else walks into that room after him and they're bouncing this tennis ball or something, some kind of ball I guess, and it goes into the same room as Rick, but Rick stepped back into this even smaller like room type thing they have in houses I guess, and the guy actually is bouncing the ball against the window, and we see Rick looking at him and we see his hand right next to him. And I thought it was really good. Rick didn't do lots of talking. Well, he didn't do any when he was in that. While he was in the house with those guys. But the camera focusing on him and his expressions really good. I think he's a brilliant actor. So that was really well done. But then he walks back out, picks up a trophy to use as a weapon, I guess. And he's about to. The guys walk downstairs. And he goes to walk into the room to get the guy's gun because he left the gun there. The guy runs back up again. So instead of Rick jumping in the bed or jumping under the bed or grabbing the gun and shooting the guy, he hides in a random door, opens a random door and walks in, and there's a guy in there sitting on the toilet. He's just sitting there. He's not actually on the toilet. And then they get this really weird fight that doesn't actually make sense because surely someone would have heard it. But nevertheless, Rick kills the guy, strangles him using the strap for the guy's Uzi or submachine gun, whatever it is, and takes it and then leaves and runs out and then meets up with Michonne and they head to Terminus, which I might do a video of that this weekend. I thought the episode was really good. Some parts were quite boring. The bits with I personally didn't like the Michonne Carl bits because I thought the Michonne Carl's not that interesting to me yet. He's not, and the comics is pretty cool. And the Carl and Michonne bonding, I know it's good for both the characters' developments and the series as a whole, but I just thought they weren't that interesting because they were just walking around the house. There was a bit where Michonne opened the door and thought his family they'd all committed suicide in this kid's room. That was pretty well done. That was pretty good. The stuff with Glenn and Tara, it was okay. It was mostly just filler. We could really well mostly introduction to the characters and just show that they're coming back now. So I think we'll start to see all the characters converging on this Terminus place, which I'll talk about in another episode. And also talk about before I forgot to mention, when Rick leaves, he is hiding from the still. One guy walks outside, the guy bouncing the ball, sits on the porch and starts eating some fruit out of a can, I think it is. And I'm just checking the time, and it's running out to make it in one video. Rick Rick sees he's whistling this song, I think, and Rick sees Michonne and Carl come back, so he has to act quickly, and he's about to shoot the guy, and then they hear screaming because the guy Rick killed earlier reanimated a zombie. And there's a really good bit where Rick kills the guy. Rick opens the door slightly so the zombie can get out and stop, and maybe grab the other guy upstairs or something, at least, which will slow him down for a few seconds, and that really helped, and Rick was able to escape. I thought this episode was really good. A lot of people always give all their episodes in this high category because it was a pretty good episode, but I want to set a level of episodes being good or not. I'm going to say this one was a 7 out of 10, which is a really good episode. Maybe 8 out of 10. I'm going 8 out of 10, a really good episode. Not the best, but still really good. But that means I want to have the rest of my ratings to be scaled to my own system. So tell me what you guys thought of the episode and what you think of the next episode and the series as a whole. The Terminus, the Marauders, they're called the guys. And I'll see you on that, and subscribe as well and like the video. And I'll see you next time.